We'll get going. All right, guys, so welcome to day 4 of boot camp. Today we are going to cover designs and campaigns. So to get started, we're going to move into designs. So again, if you forget what these applets on the left-hand side are, you can hover to see, or you can click the white KW on the red background and pop out those words so that you can see what they are. And we are moving into the designs platform today. So as you can see, I create a lot of designs, 573 of them to be exact. So I have quite a few. So one of the best tips that I can make for you when you create a design is to make sure that you're renaming it so that you can find it. Here on this home screen, you can see right now I'm looking at all types of designs. I can filter down and look at my emails, social, print, and any video designs that I have made. Okay. We can also sort date old to new or new to old, which is helpful sometimes. And from here, when we're ready to create a design, we're just going to click create a design in the upper right-hand corner. It was brought to my attention the other day that some of you, I am a labs advisor, so I do get early access to some stuff. So if your screen does not look exactly like mine, you may see a teal plus button in the lower right corner, and that's what you're going to click. If you don't see this layout yet, you will see it soon. I'm going to go ahead and click create design. And we can choose from email, social, print, or video. And first, I'm going to start off with social posts. So I'm going to choose social, and I'm going to click continue. You will notice that once this moves us into the designs platform, we have moved out of the command ecosystem and in to the designs platform. So we've lost our applets over here on the side. They have been replaced with the templates that we can sort through. We can search for templates in the upper right-hand corner. And right now we are under the templates tab. I also want to bring your attention to the My Designs tab. This will take you into all of your designs. It will give you the ability to import PDFs. So if you have a PDF that you want to edit, you can in fact import that into the design system. Or you can start from blank and pick a specific size. If you have an idea in mind and you want to create something specific, you can create from scratch right there. But the most important thing I want to start with is your assets tab. So if you have not yet taken the time to come in and set up your design assets, I do recommend that you do so. So once I come into my assets tab, it is going to default me to the colors and fonts section over here on the left. My main palette of colors consists of reds, teals, and grays for most of my designs. You can come up with several different color palettes if you like. Maybe you want one that's patriotic for all of those holidays, one for spring, one for winter, one for fall. Whatever your fancy, you can create multiple color palettes by clicking new color palette in the upper right corner. So say that I wanted to make one for the holidays. Maybe I want to bring in some greens. Then I can add these in, some reds. So maybe I want to make one for Christmas time. And I have specific colors I want to use, then I can do that here by adding and just moving through the colors, picking the color I want, and it will add it. I click off. So you can create all the palettes that you want. Click the 3 dots, click rename, and maybe this one is for the holidays, like so. Now you have another color palette that you can choose from when you're creating designs. If you've come up with a custom font for your brand, you can upload it here. So you're going to click the upload button. You just need to make sure that the font is in one of these 5 formats. Those are the only font formats that allow you to upload them to the system. So again, if you've created some kind of a custom font, then you can upload those 5 file types here. And next up, we have images. So you can see within my images, I actually have built folders. So my Labs Advisor logo, a picture of the building in Winston-Salem, at least for now. I have my headshots in a folder in different formats, clear backgrounds, rectangles, different things like that. I have screenshots that I've taken of stuff. So obviously mine is a little bit different than yours, but if you have some favorite front exteriors of homes that you have taken, or if you maybe get some pictures of different cities, if you love taking photos and you want to have like a bunch of pictures of Louisville and a bunch of pictures of Clemens, then you could upload them and put them into different folders. So for uploading, pretty simple. You just click the upload button here and you can upload photos from any of these places. And if you want to create a new folder, so maybe these are cityscapes of different cities that you want to use images of, then you could put them here like so and have a new folder for that specific set of pictures. All of these, doing this will make making designs easier for you. So I'm going to move into my text field now. So you can see that I have several different types of text that I use in my designs. I use my email, I use my websites, I use my app code, my biography, the company address, all these different things. And you will see this one that's a contact block. I'm actually going to edit this. The reason that I have this is in some of the designs, the text is all just one block under your name. So whereas sometimes I can replace just my phone number in the design, sometimes it is a block. And another one that I have seen that I will go ahead and create now, I'm going to do a new field. I'm going to do new text. And this is the separated text. And I will show you an example of this. Separated contact info. I cannot type today. Go figure. All right, so I know I've seen some of them that look like Monica Perry at kw.com. Then it has the block line, and then maybe my website, and then my phone number. And I'll show you all the different ways that you can use these as we're going through the designs. But definitely take a chance. Anything that you're going to use and have to type repeatedly, go ahead and add it in here. Next up is logos. So I have two different market centers. So I have two different folders of logos for myself, KW1, KW Realty Elite. And so you guys may have your company's logos, and then you might have a team that has its own logos, or you may have just developed a logo for yourself that you use in your business, then you can upload those here. Next up is elements. So if you're often finding yourself adding the Facebook button or follow me on YouTube or different buttons into your designs, you can upload those here. You can also upload videos. So Josh, we were talking about videos yesterday. Anytime that you make a video, my recommendation would probably be that you upload it to YouTube, because when you're adding videos here in designs, if you wanted to send it out in an email format or something, you're going to need to add it from YouTube. So I will show you guys how that works. I will just go to my YouTube channel really quickly. Let me be my business self here. So say that I have a video that I want to email out, like our BootCamp videos, then I can get that link to that specific video by clicking share and copy. And then here, if I'm going to use it repeatedly, maybe you have an introductory video, Josh, like yours, then you can click add video by YouTube link. Ooh, they've added upload. That's new. And I can put that YouTube link in there and click add. And I see now that they have added a place to upload. So I could actually upload a video from my device as well. I love it when I see new stuff in here. Right, so I could just click to upload a video that I already have. My computer would stop moving so slow. That would be great. So I could just upload a video like this as well. But it does have a video duration limit, it looks like, when it's not a link. So if it's a link, there's no limit to how long it can be. So there you go. Now I have a library of my videos that I may need to add into a design. We can also upload files. So for this one, I just used the example of uploading the WREA, Working with Real Estate Agents brochure, in case you ever needed to add that into a design. So again, first step, if you're going to get started in designs, I highly recommend that you go to the assets and get that set up for yourself. Does anybody have any questions on assets before we move into design creation? Awesome. All right, so I'm going to move back to my templates tab. First up are our app designs that we have. These are a social square size that you can share on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, wherever you might want. And they are pretty basic. They're just intended to help people navigate to your mobile app, because we all know from the generational trends reports that we've been going over this week, like 70+% of people work with the first agent that they talk to. So you have to be first, right, in order to get that piece of business. And one of the great ways that you can do that is to have somebody in your mobile app and registered on your website looking at properties there so that you are always top of mind. These are just very simple designs that show people how to use your app. You can link it to your app code. So that is one of the design types that we have. I'm going to click done. Just let you guys see that. Move back into design creation. Again, we're looking at social designs. Just let this load. We'll give it patience. It's been a long week. All right. So next up, we have the things that we can do for listings. So you have for sale, just sold, local expert, neighborhood snaps, just listed, price updates, open houses, under contracts. Spring selling season was really cool. So you can use some of these for next year. Some coming soon posts and Keller mortgage specific things right here. So just because something says for sale, if you really like one of these designs, but you have a listing that's just coming soon, or you have one that is under contract, but you really like the layout of this, you don't have to be pigeonholed into that text, because everything on these is fully editable. So to start off, I'm just going to use this square for sale. Interiors of homes are really trending right now. So if you're advertising your listings, front exteriors are great. And if it has a really super deluxe kitchen or a really fancy spa bathroom or a wonderful fireplace coming up for fall, make sure that you highlight that, because interior pictures of homes are definitely trending. They attract people's attention. So it's something to consider. So now that I have chosen this design, the cool thing is if it's your listing or an active listing within the MLS, you can actually pull in the photos from that listing. So the way that we would do this is over here on the left-hand side, we would click on the little house that says KWLS, or the Keller Williams listing system. So everything that is entered into the MLS syndicates into the KWLS. So if I click that, we're going to move back into Triad MLS like we've been doing all week. We will give a shout out to whatever agent's listing that we use. I'm going to go into my office active listings. I don't have my own listing, so I have to borrow someone else. Ooh, I love Washington Park. Let's get in here and look at this house. Cute, cute, great area. Kudos to Teresa Blackburn for a great listing. We're going to borrow it. 2012 Rawson Street in Winston-Salem. So if you have your own listings, obviously you will be able to use your own listings. But here we can search for this KW listing by listing address, MLS number, its KWLS ID, the listing agent or a co-listing agent. So I'm just going to pop in this address and hit enter. It'll take it a minute, and there we go, 2012 Rawson Street. So if this is my listing, I'm going to click select, and it is going to give me access to the listing photos and the listing details. So we'll give this a chance to populate. There we go. So now, if we want to replace this photo with our own listings photo, we have two ways that we can do it. We can drag the photo over and let go so that we can see what it looks like. You also can click the photo in the design, move over to the left-hand side to your MLS listings, and you can click the replace image button, the little recycle arrows there, and that will replace it a secondary way. So whatever way is more comfortable for you, you can choose to use that. So the drag or the replace. Both work. Sometimes when the pictures are smaller, it might be easier to use the replace button because you could drag it and drop it into the wrong spot. So it's just whatever one feels more comfortable to you. So now that we have our picture here, you can see I can click on the text for the property's address. And from the KWLS, I also have the listing details, not just the photos. So here's the listing address. I want to replace this listing address. I'm going to come over and hit the recycle button. Boom. Didn't even have to type in the text. Right? Now, what if this wasn't for sale? What if this was under contract or pending? Then I could replace this text with that. So like I said, if you see a design that you like, but it's not for sale or coming soon, you can replace the verbiage. These are fully editable. So again, I have all of these details here. So I know that this is 3 beds, 2 baths, or 2 beds, 1 bath, unlike this original text. So let's talk about how to do this text. You have 2 choices here as well. And I have done both and used both. You can double click into the text like I just did. Just a quick tap, tap will double click you in, and I can replace this 2, and then I can replace this with 1.1, 1 full, 1 half bath, right? The other option is that I can click the text, it's highlighted, and I can come up here to the typewriter on our toolbar at the top, and it will open up the typewriter if you feel more comfortable editing your text out this way. You can do that as well. So if I made the change to square footage, it's probably around 1,200 square feet, I'm guesstimating. Then I could change that here and save the changes, and it will pop it into my design. So you have the 2 different ways that you can edit out these bars of text. So now here, our logo, this is where having those assets set up comes into play. If I didn't have my assets set up, I would have to upload my logo, find it on my computer, get it into the system right now while I'm trying to get this created. But since I already have my assets added into the system, I can just come over to the left, open up my KW Elite folder. This one is highlighted. It's got the clear background. This one is the same. I can choose whichever one I like. Maybe you like going with black and grays. Then you can just click replace and replace your logo right there. So now that we have this design made, we have 2 choices again. You can go ahead and download the image by clicking download. If you're going to be uploading this to social media, I recommend the PNG high quality image. And we can up and down the image quality. We could give it a transparent background if we needed to, and then we can download. So it's going to tell you it's preparing the file, and up here, it tells you that it's preparing. So we just need to wait for it to download. We'll give it a second to do so. Download is complete. I now have this image ready that I can upload into any form of social media that I fancy. There's my image. It is saved to my computer, right? second option is if you're going to post this to Facebook, and when we look at campaigns in a little bit, you'll see this. So free social posting, the only way that we can do that through command as of today is to Facebook and Twitter. So if you want to post free to Instagram, you need to download the picture and upload the picture into Instagram. If you're going to do a social post through command, you can add it to Facebook and you can add it to Twitter. And that is actually done through the designs platform or through the campaigns platform, which is connected to design. So I will show you guys how to do that. So again, download it, especially if you want to post it to Instagram, or if you're going to do like a slideshow on TikTok. We don't have that capability on here, so you will need to download the images. Does anybody have any questions there? Good? All right. So let's talk about renaming. Like I said, I had what, 500 plus designs that I made. So make sure that you're renaming your designs so that when you need to find them, you can. This is 2012 Rawson. Maybe I'm going to name this Pending Social Square. Okay. Then I have that there, and we can click Done. And it will take us out. It will ask us if we want to save it, or we can click File, Save. I do have Use Autosave turned on, but because I've been burned in the past by different designs platforms, I do like to always save my work before I move out. So you can come over to File and click Save just to be on the safe side, and then you can click Done and move on with whatever else you were doing. So you're always going to default back to this area, and then you can move in and create a new design. So I'm going to stick with social so that we can look through some other things that we have to do in social, and then we're going to move into print designs. Let this open back up. There we go. So let's look at some of these. We have some local experts, right? We've talked about the importance of knowing where people live because we can give them specified local, hyperlocal information. If we don't know where someone lives, we can't do that. So if you want to show people how the market is doing, we have these How's the Market posts, which are great. We have some stuff about interest rates. We have some stuff about renting versus buying. We have them sized for social stories or social squares, which is great. We have neighborhood snapshots. So if you want to get really specific, like I live in Old Sherwood Forest, if you want to say things are heating up in Old Sherwood Forest, we could use this post right here. I'm going to go ahead and click Use. We'll let this get loaded up. So this is sized for a social story. So same steps. I can replace my logo here. Give a little love to KW1. I'm going to use that white right there. Pop that in because we always want to put our brokerage logo on anything that we're posting to keep ourselves compliant. So now I need to change this text. So again, I can double click in or use my typewriter. And I can say Old Sherwood Forest, like so, and then click Save. Now you see that that got too big, so I can drag it around and move it. I'm going to show you a few more things that you can do with this text. If I have this box highlighted, I have a spacing option up here on my toolbar. I can space out the lines if I wanted it to take up more space on my design. I can space out the words if I wanted them to be further apart, which is pretty cool, and that looks good in some designs. And I can even space out the individual letters if I wanted it to take up some more space or have a little bit more background spacing. I could do that as well, or I could make them really, really tight if I wanted to too, right? So you have a lot of options there. Now, say I didn't like this photo, I could replace it with something else, right? Maybe I wanted my office photo there that I already had uploaded, or I could pick from some other photos. So I'm going to go into images right here. It's highlighted itself because I clicked on a picture. I can click on workspace and you will see Gary giving us some tips. So I'm going to go ahead and hit skip. These are some stock images that they have put for us in here. So we have some miscellaneous, different things like this. We have holidays, got that coming up. Look for some more stuff to get added there. Home interiors. Again, I said those are trending. So if you wanted to show that. We have app images. So if you wanted to really push stuff about your app, you could use an app image. Lifestyle at home is going to have people doing things like the people in this kitchen. So maybe I wanted to do one about somebody getting their house keys. I could replace the image right there, right? So we have, maybe I want this adorable little girl, right? So I could show that picture there. Super cool. Now, as for this, which is the market snapshot, I can come over to the KWLS. We saw what we did with the listing, right? If the listing is live, we can pull it in, or I can move over into snapshots. So I can now search by neighborhood name or postal code. So if you don't have, remember these neighborhoods are established by the company next door. So if the neighborhood does not yet exist in next door, somebody that lives in the neighborhood can add it, or if you don't want to do it by neighborhood specifically, you could actually also do it by the zip code. But we're going to look for neighborhood because I do know that my neighborhood does exist. So I'm going to look up Old Sherwood Forest and look for this Old Sherwood Forest in Winston-Salem. There it is. I'm going to click this drop down. It's going to take it a minute to load. It's a lot of data in here, so sometimes I'm probably the least patient person, and sometimes we just have to be patient and let it load up its stuff. So this is not the correct size for what we're replacing, right? But this one is. So again, we already have this highlighted. We can just click replace right here. Give that a minute to fully get its resolution back. There we go. Now it's nice and clear. Average listing price, average sold price. There's 2 active, there's 2 pending, 13 average days on market. The reason that we in Winston-Salem and Greensboro are getting NA on an average price per square foot is because our MLS operates off of a range of square footage. So it's not giving it the opportunity to calculate this. If you are super detail oriented, I am sorry that it doesn't populate yet. And hopefully they will be able to get it for us. But there is no way for us to edit this out because it is done through the KWLS. So if you don't like the NA there, I'm sorry. I mean, I guess technically we probably could bring in like a shape and maybe do a square. So if it's just super important for you that it's accurate, we could make a white square, bring it down, cover it up like so, and then maybe drop some text in there that gives it the correct, see, I just covered it up. You could drop a text box on top of there and put the average price from the MLS, right? So that would be an option if you really, really want it to be specific, or if you just don't want it to show because it's going to bother you, then I can go up to my assets and maybe I just want to pull in, or I'll go to my logos actually, and I will pull in my fake team logo that I've made myself. I'll make it smaller and I'll just bring it down here and cover that whole section up and pretend it doesn't exist, right? So you can edit it out if it's going to bother you that we don't have the average price per square foot. But nonetheless, a super snazzy looking post. And of course, when we're posting things on social media, our goal is to stop the scroll, right? We want to catch people's eye. They're scrolling. You guys have all been on Facebook. You're going through your Facebook feed and looking at what your friends are doing. So you want stuff that's going to catch their eye and make them stop scrolling and click on it. So these are pretty snazzy looking things to do that with. All right, so let's go back one and look at a few more things. I wanted to make sure I showed you guys those market snapshots. Does anybody have any questions so far as we're moving along? Everybody feeling good, feeling confident? So Keller Mortgage, definitely something that I recommend that you guys use to your advantage. I'm going to take this chance to let you know that on Keller Mortgage, we each have our own unique agent site on Keller Mortgage. So if you didn't know that, here's your opportunity to learn that. So let's just go to Google and type Keller Mortgage Agent Portal. And we can get right into that. If you haven't set this up, there's just a handful of things that you have to do at the beginning to get this set up. And once we get in, here we go. This is what it looks like, okay? So now we have lots of things that we can do within Keller Mortgage, right? But one of the things that I'm going to show you is the marketing. So you have some flyers that you can use. You have logos. If you want to use Keller Mortgage logos on top of things, then you can. They have some social media graphics, saving thousands of dollars with Keller Mortgage. I will tell you, I haven't used Keller Mortgage for a home loan because I already have a home, but I did just use Keller Mortgage to refinance, and they saved us $800 a month. So take that for what it's worth. And once I refinanced and saved that $800, several months later, they reached back out and said, hey, I can get you another 1/4 percentage point off. Do you want us to do it again? Yes, I do. So now it's gone down even further. So that was great value to this household. So definitely use it as an option. No shade on our local lenders. I love all of our local lenders. I just want you guys to know what is available for you, okay? So let me also find the other button. There we go. It's KM settings. So this is my personal Keller Mortgage link. It's tied to me, Monica Perry, because nobody can use Keller Mortgage unless they are working with an agent. So now my brother could refinance with Keller Mortgage because he would say, I'm connected to Monica Perry. So that would let him refinance with Keller Mortgage. But they cannot get a home loan through Keller Mortgage unless it is on a Keller Williams listing or they are working with a Keller Williams agent. So if somebody finds out that they could save $3,000 on buying their home by using Keller Mortgage, that might be a reason for them to do it with you, right? So take a chance to use that in your branding. And again, this is your specific link. You can click copy. And then when you're using any of these templates in a social media post, pop that link in there. And if they click on it, you know, if you want to save thousands, find out here, and they click, it is going to bring them to your specifically branded Keller Williams page. It says your agent is whoever it is, right? In this case, me, and I just minimized my screen. Hold on. Sorry. Let me get your pretty faces back over there. So now they can choose, I want to buy a home or I want to refinance, and Keller Mortgage will know, hey, you're working with Monica Perry when they come into Keller Mortgage's portal. So just a quick tip there, if you had not used that yet, that it does in fact exist. Any questions on that? Good. All right. So we've kind of looked through listings. We have a lot of stuff for buyers too. We have buyer presentations. We have neighborhood snapshots. This is just more of these done in different formats that you can use to post on things. So if you have a specific neighborhood that you really want to break into, this is one of the ways that you can do that, at least on social media. lead generation, client love, happy birthday, happy home anniversary, thank you cards, all kinds of things that you can post. If one of your clients leaves you a glowing testimonial, we talked about yesterday how you can add that to your agent website under your testimonials list, but you may really want to highlight that testimonial. So you could take the verbiage from that testimonial and pop it into one of these graphics to share, which is cool. We have some event invitations. So the holidays are coming up. If you're going to do pictures with Santa, or you're going to do the Thanksgiving pie giveaway, our clients are sweeter than pie. There's your Thanksgiving pie giveaway graphics for you. We have some expert advice posts on tax benefits and tax deductions. How much is your home worth? These are some nice graphics for that. I showed you guys yesterday how you could add that home valuation tool to your website. We'll go ahead and pull that up. So here is mine. It is linked to my Cloud CMA in my MLS Matrix account. Let this finish loading. So if I wanted to use one of those snazzy graphics that says you want to know how much your home is worth, I could link it right there to my website. They would get brought to this page, enter their property address. They will get an email that shows them it's very clear. It gives them a letter that says, this is just an estimate. For a more accurate estimate, please contact me. But it also sends you an email that lets you know that this happened so that you can reach out to that person. So you could tie in this link that we talked about yesterday to one of these home value social media posts. We have some I Love KW. These are great for scheduling out posts, Josh, like we talked about yesterday. These are great for your Facebook business page, like cover photo. I like to change those out a lot. So like #1 KW, there's some fun stuff in there. Posting Y4C2Ts always gets people to be like, what's that mean? What is that? And so then you get to talk to them about that, which is a great thing. You can make an announcement that you joined KW or something's happening. So you have a lot of quotes in here and a lot of different things that you can post there. We have some inspirational designs, right? Never settle, never give up. One of my favorite KW t-shirts. So we have a lot of stuff like that. We have stuff to advertise our website. Shows them what they can do. Again, link that image to your website, drive some traffic there. And then this is our personally branded magazine. And I'm hoping that any day now, since fourth quarter starts tomorrow, that we are going to get our fourth quarter branded magazine. And we're going to look at these print designs here in just a minute. Under business basics, that's where you could design some business cards if you want to design your own custom business cards. You could even do like a digital business card if you wanted to just save it as an image and share it out with people, or save it as a picture on your phone, and I'll just text you my business card. That sounds pretty fancy, right? Email signatures like my own. You can see if I compose an email. This is my email signature. So you can customize this. The ones that show are red. This is mine. And I just edited out to my own personal branding colors. So you can do that. We have a piece of letterhead. And we have some social branding here. Again, these are really great for cover photos on Facebook business pages. I think you guys even have access to the leadership stuff. So there are some different things in here that you can use. Remember, everything is fully editable. So if you see something you like, you might want to use it. If you're a big fan of bold, like my t-shirt, then we have some bold laws. I live by these things. My favorite one is, where is it? Where is it? Success is simple, not easy. Simple. I can tell you exactly how to be successful, but it's not easy. You got to work for it. So that's one of my favorite bold laws. So you have access to all of those. Holidays are coming up, y'all. My favorite thing, this just happened right before this class, like a little bit last week, I think is when this happened. They finally broke our holidays down by month. which makes me very happy. So you don't have to scroll through every single one to find your happy Thanksgiving post. So they've broken these down into months, which is really nice. Let's see. This is some of the luxury stuff. So if you're listing technically in the Winston-Salem market, I know in Greensboro, I would assume is just a little bit higher. In the Winston-Salem market, 450,000 and above is considered a luxury property. So these are just a little more clean lined, you know, a little more upscale aesthetic for flyers and brochures and things of that nature. So you have those luxuries, and then you have this luxury stuff with property marketing, open house stuff, you know, just a little bougier looking there. And then we have some pivot shift ahead and some new designs. So we looked at building a social post. It's just a picture, right? So it's the same for any social post that you use. It's the same thing. Some of these designs are not editable. They're just made to be the way that they are, other than your logo, but some of them are editable. So I do recommend that you go in there and just kind of take a look around. So does anybody have any questions on the social posts that we've made? Looking good? Awesome. All right, so let's talk about print designs. We have several to choose from. We have the listing presentations, if you're going to go on a listing appointment. We have a buyer presentation for your buyer consultation meeting. Looks like this. And we have that branded magazine, which again existed under Business Basics. I lied. It exists under Lead Generation, personally branded magazine. All of these are print booklets, and they're all edited the same way. So at this point, I'm going to give you guys the option of which one do you want to see? Do you want to see a listing presentation, a buyer presentation, or the branded magazine? If you want to just either unmute and tell me or drop it in the chat.
Buyer. Can we do buyer?
Okay, one vote for buyer.
Two, because I got someone with me.
Vote for buyer. All
Yeah,
right.
Tommy's with
Hey, Tommy.
Des, Monica.
Awesome. All right, so let's take a look at the buyer presentation then. So we have a few to choose from. I know that the black one looks nice. I like black too. And keep in mind your ink. Just throwing that out there for you. But they're all beautiful. So I'm going to choose this one. We're just going to click the red use button in the upper right corner. Let this get opened up. It's a pretty big file, so it takes it a second to get loaded. Take your time. There we go. Okay. So your guide to home ownership, everything you need to know about buying a home. Cool deal. First name, last name. So you want to customize this to your client, right? So we'll stick with the little fluff ball that's laying over here on the ground next to me. Mr. Dakota Perry is going to be my client. We'll save. So now we know that we're making this for Dakota. He's going to be able to take it home. Assets coming into play again. We can replace. Assets coming into play again. Under my logos, I have my fake team logo. So I could use that instead of Royals Realtors, which is a big team in Austin. See, when I deleted that, it left an image placeholder. I can go ahead and delete that too, because my logo is a square. It's not going to fit into a rectangular box. So I can just add it separately and drag it down here alongside of my Market Centers logo. So front cover, done, right? Yes, it's going to take you some time to set this up the first time, but the great thing is all you'll really need to do from then moving forward is change out the client's name, right? So take the time to set it up for yourself. Down here, you can see that I clicked on the pages. So now the next page is the buyer consultation. This is for you, right? This is not for them. This part is for you. Remove this page before use. It's just showing you what the instructions are for this, what the purpose is behind this. When you're having a buyer consultation, here are some things you should be having conversations about: neighborhoods, color mortgage, buyer preferences, how buying a home works, right? So it's an educational page for you, the agent. So if you feel confident in all those things and you don't need to have this page, you can just click the 3 dots here and delete the page from your design so you don't have to see it anymore. If you prefer the picture cover photo, right, then you've got 2 options of cover photos here. So again, you can make that decision like so. And if you want your picture on there, guess what? I've got my pictures and my assets over here on this side, so I can just replace her picture with mine, right? And I can replace that first name, last name with my name, because under my text in my assets right here, I have my name, so I can replace it. Now, here's that text box. This is why I added this in this format, because as I've gone through and looked at all the designs, I've seen all the different ways of things that I might need to replace. And I noticed that there were a lot of these that are a block. So I can't like click just specifically on the website and replace it with my single line website, because it's built out in a block. So that is why I made the block one. And I know I have it in here somewhere. Let me find it. It might be this one. Yep. So now I could just replace that whole block instead of having to type out all that text. Replace it with my logo. Replace this with my other logo. Right. So now you're getting to see why the assets are so important. That means you're not having to scatter and go find all your stuff and upload it, right? So the next page is done. I can now choose, do I want this super clean, blank looking page prepared for my client, or do I like this cover? And maybe you might want to change out the image of that house. That doesn't look like a very, my area at least, house that's in this area. So maybe I want to pick a different picture here. I could definitely do that. You have a table of contents page. So essentially you're just going to go through, make your edits. Maybe you don't feel a need for a table of contents, then you could just delete the page. Next up, a sound decision. So this is just a little story on investing in a home, why it's important. Let's navigate your home ownership journey together, right? Let it go next. Your needs come first. And you can come through and edit all of this to your heart's desire. I do recommend looking through all of the pages to make sure that you are in line with everything, right? What's the best time to reach you? How do you like to receive information or updates? We've talked about this when we add our contacts. Notifying yourself of how this person likes to be reached out to is super important. If they don't like being phone called and they want to be texted, text them. So ask that question, right? Ask that question. But you can see this has got a ton of information in it. So if you feel like something is missing, you can add it in, right? What are some exterior things that you're looking for? This home wish list pages, which is super cool. Takes you all the way through. So read through this, make sure you know what it says. Now, right here, visit your website URL to get started. That means that you need to edit this, right? So I need to put my website right here, monicaperry.kw.com, which is why it is super important that you look through the book. Don't just print it out, because there are a couple of places where you need to make an edit. Again, website URL needs to be added here. So make sure that you're looking through. Just remember, you just got to set it up the one time. Then you can just change out the client's name on the front. Maybe you have some additional pages that you add for a luxury client. Then you could just add those in for yourself. If you already have your own flyers that you like, you can upload those and add them into this place. Here's some of those neighborhood insights. So if you're like, I don't want to have to worry about changing this out every single time that I do this, then just delete this page and don't use it, right? Totally up to you. If you want to drill down and add information about 2 neighborhoods that you think that they would be interested in, then you have the opportunity to do so. So really the sky's the limit as far as editing, how home buying works. Make your offer and negotiate the terms. Yes, that all does happen. We don't really call it escrow checks here. We call it earnest money checks. And due diligence is really important in this market. So again, make sure that you're reading through this. We don't choose a title company. The attorney does that for us, right? Unless there's some specific reason. So I don't need this here. And maybe instead I want to start talking about due diligence in here, then I can add that and edit it. And I'm going to say deliver earnest money instead, right? And maybe I want to add set due diligence period and amount. And make sure that they know it's not refundable, right? That should be part of this buyer consultation. So make sure that you're going through here and editing out what you need to edit out. I'm not going to beat a dead horse. You guys get it. You click on the page that you want to edit, you go in and make your edits, right? So again, making sure that we're saving along the way if we need to. We can file save. Don't leave your computer in the middle of editing this without clicking save, just to be on the safe side. Auto save is turned on. I never want you guys to lose your work that you're working on. But we're going to go ahead and make the assumption that we've gone through here and we're good to go. We've made our edits. This is Monica's 2021, 2022 buyer consult. That's what I want this to be named, so I know what it is. Okay, now let's talk about some things that we can do with it. We can download it and print it out. Simple enough. Download, change this over to PDF for printing so it looks high quality. I always, this is just a tip, doesn't matter if it's a postcard, doesn't matter if it's a PDF flyer, if it's a brochure, if it's the buyer consultation. I always click include manual bleed. And on a postcard, we'll talk about it. You have to, if you're going to upload it and send it out through command. And I always click download a CMYK because that keeps a higher resolution to any images that I have added. Okay. So then I can just download the whole document. I have it saved to my computer. I can print it out when I need to, which is great. So it's going to take it a minute. It's saying it's preparing. While that's doing that, let's talk about something else that we can do with this. We could also click this share button up here in the upper right corner. So check this out. When I click share, I do not want to use just this design. That's just one page. I want to share the project. Okay. So this project now has a link. And if I copy this link, I could pop it into an email. I could send it over in a text. I could send it whatever way that I fancied sending it. And when I look at the link, check it out. It is like a flippable magazine. So it is now customized. My person can flip through and they can look at all of this stuff. So think about for a listing consultation, if you like to send your listing presentation ahead of yourself, if you guys feel like reviewing this before I get here, here you go. You can send it in an email. They can flip through it just like so. If you were using this for your branded magazine, and you wanted to make a post on Facebook about it, click here to check out my latest magazine. They can click on it. It's going to take them to the magazine and they can flip through it digitally. So that's super cool as well, right? So you have a couple of options there of what you can do. But just remember, if you're going to share a PDF that has multiple pages, you want to make sure that you share the entire project, not just this design. So it's going to default here. That means it would just share that one page. You want to change it to the project and then save or share. Good?
Monica,
Go ahead.
so you said always include manual bleed and download to what?
CMYK.
Yeah.
Good? Awesome. Okay. So last thing we're going to look at is designing a postcard, and then we're going to move ourselves over into the campaigns. Does anybody have any questions on editing print designs? Good deal. Okay. So now let's say you wanted to make a custom postcard. In the campaigns applet, there are default templates that you can use, and I'll show you those here in just a minute. But you also might want to get fancier and design your own custom postcard, which is fine, right? So if that was the case, then you would want to be on your home page, and whether your creative design buttons in the upper right like mine, or you have the teal plus in the lower right, then you can just click create design from either place, and you're going to click print for a postcard and click continue. Ooh, I also have to show you guys the emails before we head out of here. So we're going to pull up this postcard. We click create a design and print. Let the workspace load. Now it's going to take us in to see print designs. So if you had a listing that you wanted to make a postcard for sale, just sold, you can click on whichever one is relevant. And there are standard postcards right here. These are some postcards that are available to you. I'm going to go ahead and click use in the upper right corner. So once I found a postcard that I want to use, I'll pull up another listing. Oh yes, I want this one because I love my swimming pool. It got covered up yesterday and I'm very sad. But we will use this one. So again, KWLS, search for my listing. There's that house. I'm going to click select. I want to replace this picture of this beautiful house, but it doesn't look like a house around here, with my own listing. So I'm going to click it and I'm going to replace it. I'm going to click my logo and I'm going to replace it. Street name, number, back to listing details, replace, and stretch it out so that it fits. And put in my numbers of bedrooms and bathrooms. Looks like we have 4 beds. And we're just going to guess that it's got 3 baths. And I'm going to say that it's 3,500 square feet. And that it is for sale for $729,000. 29, comma. Okay. Save changes. Done. All right. So there's the front of my postcard. Again, pages in the lower right. Here's the back of my postcard. So if I'm doing a listing, I've got the option to change out some of these photos. Oops. So maybe I want to do just the front exterior, and maybe I want to do this view right here, and maybe I want to do this beautiful staircase. Okay, switch out my picture. With my headshot. If this is the wrong size, I can double click. Now I can drag it to the appropriate place and then click done. So it's not cutting off the top of my head. I can replace my app code. So you can see the assets really are good for you. There's my app code. I can replace that. Replace my name. Can just do my social media block here. Oops, that happens sometimes. You can just delete it. I didn't hit replace right. Click replace. That's better. All right, so this one already had my app code in it, so I can just click in there and delete it out. And this is just one of those programs, you know, you'll get used to using it the more you use it. So here we go. Back of my postcard is done. Okay. So there is a custom postcard for, just did a listing, but it could be for whatever you wanted it to be. What's your home worth? Keller Mortgage. Here's my listing. My listing went under contract. Whatever you want to make a postcard for, that's your opportunity to do it and customize it to your liking. And this was what address? This was 3670 Community Church Road. So I'm going to rename my postcard 3670 Community Church Road, so that I know what it is. Now, we're going to go ahead, because I get asked this question about customized postcards a lot. So that's the first thing we're going to look at in campaigns as well. But now that I've made my design, I want to click download. PDF for printing? Yes. Include manual bleed? Yes. You absolutely have to do this in order to upload this postcard in the campaign's postcard real mailers app. Manual bleed, and I do CMYK because you don't have to do it, I don't think. I feel like it gives the pictures better quality though. So I want to download page 1 and 2 separately. So download page 2. I'm going to let it prepare and let it download. And we will be patient while we wait for the download. It's coming. There we go. All right. So again, now I need to download the front. Include manual bleed. I need page 1 and download. We'll let this go. And while we're on this topic, I'm letting this download. Keep in mind that you can have multiple command windows open. I think I've said that this week, but I want to remind you all that you can have multiple command windows open. And I quite often do, especially when I'm working on something in designs, because as I discussed with you earlier, it really does take you out of the command platform when you're in the design system. So I usually just have a command window opening. Okay. So here we go. We're going to move into campaigns now. We've made our custom postcard. We're going to do an overview of campaigns here in a minute, but first I want to show you how to go ahead and get this direct mail piece done. So now that we're here, we're going to click Create Campaign, and we're doing direct mail. We're going to give it a name. Community Church Listed Postcard. I'm advertising a listing. I'm going to create the campaign. This is taking me into the postcard area, okay? So if I was going to use, I'm going to show you the templates that already exist in here first, and then I'm going to show you how to upload our custom templates. So you can look for the listing itself. Right now it's on only my listings. I need it to be on all listings if you don't have the listing yourself. I'm going to select the listing, okay? So this is the default layout of the postcard. So yes, I can just make it this way. But what I will warn you of, I think it's going to get released to you guys soon. And if it does, I want to make sure that you're aware of it. I'm just going to leave it on the compact template. I've got the address. This is too much verbiage. I only have 350 characters. So I'm just going to delete some of it out. Obviously, you could pick and choose what you wanted, but it's pulling that description in from the listing itself. Now, I have the ability to do this. I don't think you guys do yet, but if I pick listing images, you see all those exclamation points? That is because those are low resolution images. They have been put into the MLS and then syndicated out, and now they're getting pulled back in here. So they are not of the highest quality. So as of today, for you guys, I'm pretty sure that if you add one of these photos, it's not going to let you move forward. Right? It's just not going to let you progress beyond having a low resolution photo, but they're about to turn it on where it will. So before you do that, if you say, yeah, I don't care that it's a low resolution image, make sure that you look at the preview and the proof. Okay. So I want to show you, we picked the listing photo. I'm just going to leave this verbiage here. And I'm going to move down and save. Am I sure I want to use, this is what you guys are going to see soon. I'm going to say yes. It says Real Mailers is not responsible for low quality postcards that you previewed. So just remember that. If you pay for them with a low resolution image, if it's your listing, you have the photographer's list, the pictures that they gave you. Use the high definition pictures, y'all. Okay? Use the high definition pictures. So I need to edit out my state and my zip code for my market center. It's going to make me verify the address of my market center, and it wants to give me that 4-digit extra zip code. So I'm going to confirm that. Targeting, I can locally target around the address of that listing or any address, or I could choose to target my database. So if I have done my job and put lots of addresses into my contacts, and I want to email these postcards to my database to tell them what I just listed instead of around the listing itself, then I can do that. But you would have to make sure that you have people's addresses in there. Yet another reason that it is important to add people's addresses, right? I'm just going to stick with local targeting because I want you guys to see this budget. So 200 postcards, first class mail, estimated $128. This QR code here, I can turn this on for tracking purposes. So we talked about landing pages yesterday when we were talking about our agent sites, right? So I could create a landing page for this listing like we showed yesterday, right? We talked about it yesterday. I could assign, I'm just going to pretend that this Gatewood one is it. Then this postcard is going to have a QR code on it that is linked to that landing page. So if somebody scans it, it's going to take them to that landing page. And if they start messing around and put their data in, it's going to capture them in command. So just so you know that that's what that is for. And then I'm going to move forward to configure targeting because I want to show you the full size proof of this low resolution image. Okay, well, it's just going to give me a problem then. Let's try one more time. Just wanted to keep me on my toes and tell me that there was an error. Still going to do it. We're going to give it a chance to save itself. I'm going to save my draft. Technology happens. This is when you get up and go get a cup of coffee, and then you come back and it should be working. I'm going to edit and make sure that we get this going. try one more time. Configure targeting. I already did that part. What does it do? What does it want me to do? Yes, I am sure. This always happens to me. I just made a postcard yesterday and it went fine, and this wasn't happening, but we're just going to let it have its day. So obviously I would move forward. I would be able to see a full size proof of this, and you would see some graininess in this low resolution image. So once it turns on that you can use them, please be cautious before using a low resolution image. But that's how you use the standard template that is available in here. And if you, for some reason, get that message, just save the draft. It could be they're in there turning that functionality on for you guys right now. So I wanted to make sure I touched on that this month because I know it'll be out before next month. But that's the pre-installed templates for real mailers. So let's talk about the custom template that we just made. We, instead of using the template that's already there, we're going to upload the design that we had made. Okay. So here's the back. Drag and drop. Here's the front. Drag and drop. This is high quality images, so you won't have to worry about it. Okay. So that's how you put it in there. If we had not used that manual bleed, this would have given us an error code and said it was the wrong size. So again, if you're going to create your own postcards and designs, when you download, make 100% sure that you click manual bleed for both sides and have 0.125, which is where it defaults, but that is the right size. And then you can configure targeting and move forward with your design. We're going to give it one more chance to see if it'll move forward. And if not, we're going to move on. No. Okay, so I'll save the draft. If we have time, we'll come back and see if that decides to fix itself. But sometimes when they're making updates in here, that is the kind of stuff that you're going to see happen. And I know it's inconvenient. And this is what happens when you own your own technology and you want it to do all the things that you want it to do. So now that we've looked at direct mail, which is just one piece of campaigns, we're going to look at all of campaigns. So on the dashboard, you have welcome to campaigns. It shows the accounts that I have connected. I have Facebook and Twitter connected. It shows that my paid ads accounts, I only have Facebook connected. I did not make a Twitter account for doing paid ads, only Facebook. If you have Facebook connected, you can run paid ads on Instagram. You cannot do free social posts to Instagram through command, but you can do paid social ads on Instagram. Any questions on that? Just keep that in mind. You can't post to Instagram through command yet. Okay, so the quick post section. Love this section. Go to my Facebook page. These quick posts, you don't have to do anything to them unless you want to, but they look like this once they get posted. Happy little family. What's it like to wait for most lenders to process your mortgage application? Happy, not happy, bored, done. What's it like to work with Keller Mortgage? Ending up at cool, right? So all this is made for me. So all I have to do, go ahead and close out designs here, is say, I do like this. Cool, quick post, button, forward arrow, done. The picture's there, the verbiage is there, all of it's there, my logo's there, everything's done. All I have to do is decide, do I want to schedule it to go out later or do I want to publish it now? If you have multiple business pages, because you're a crazy person like Monica, you can post it to multiple business pages on Facebook. If you want to post it to Twitter, you can, as long as it is under 280 characters. So if you have Twitter connected, you can post it to Facebook and Twitter simultaneously, as long as the text is limited to 280 characters. If not, don't post to Twitter because it's got too many words. Okay. So now all I have to do is schedule it. I can choose a date in the future at a specific time, or I can publish it right now and publish. Do I want to publish it? Yes, I do. Done. Right? So that's the quick post, which is why those are so great. Let that finish its thing. Give it some time. Does anybody have any questions while we're waiting for this to finish loading? This is y'all's time. So if you have questions, ask away.
Do you mind running through how to do the Facebook post or set it up from your personal page again?
The Facebook, how to make a Facebook business page, you mean?
Well, you got to go through your personal page to set up your business page, right?
Yes.
Could you run through that again?
Yeah. So that's what I was trying to clarify. You want to know how to make a Facebook business page. Is that correct?
Right.
Okay. So when you're in Facebook, on your left-hand side, you'll see pages as an option. You click on that. And then once you're in here, there's the create a new page button. And you just click create a new page.
Okay.
And then you're going to say whatever you want to call yourself, right? I could call myself Perry Real Estate if I wanted to, but then I always need to add my brokerage,
Always add the brokerage.
right? We can get ourselves in trouble for not adding our brokerages on our social media post. So your business page should say your name or Tommy's Real Estate or whatever you want to call it at Keller Williams Realty Elite. Or
And don't all photos need to be branded? Or
it's a safer bet to make all of your photos branded. I think the technical rule is through 2 clicks that they have to know what brokerage you work with. I prefer just to put my logo on my pictures so that I don't have to worry about it. But technically the rule is 2 clicks. They have to find out that you're an agent with a brokerage within 2 clicks. Okay. So then you give yourself a category. It's more than likely going to be real estate agent, real estate company, whatever you want it to be. And then give yourself a description. Hi, I'm me with this company. I love helping people in the triad realize their real estate dreams, right? You have 255 character limit there on what you're going to put. And I don't want to create another page, but that's essentially all that you do. Then you hit create page, and then you upload a cover photo, and you upload your profile photo, and then you can start posting on your business page. Good? Does that cover questions? I want to make sure that you guys feel comfortable.
Monica,
Mhm.
if I'm doing a picture, I'm doing a voiceover, can I utilize a voiceover saying I'm Josh Powell with Keller Williams Elite? Does that cover everything?
Yep. Absolutely. Does that answer you guys' questions, Desiree? I just want to make sure.
yeah, we're good.
Okay, good. All right, so then you have your business page set up, and you can see I have multiple business pages set up. And you can do that. So if you want different ones for different areas or stuff like that, then you most definitely can do that. So the main thing you have to worry about is having a picture of yourself and having a cover photo, of which we looked at a ton of those in designs. You can just create them and download them to your computer. I just happen to have one that says welcome to fall. I think on this page, I have a video. No. Let me find. I know I have one. I'll show you guys something cool. So this one, I used a picture of the mobile app, which I thought was cool. Get people searching, right? And you can also make a video your cover if you want to have a video up there. So these quick posts, though, they are the ticket, man. If you don't feel like developing content, you're on your dashboard. There's some quick posts showing up for you right there. If you don't like the ones you see, you can hit shuffle and come up with a new set of them, just like that. So next up, I want to show you how to make this neighborhood video quick post. Because again, what are we trying to do when we're posting on social media? Stop the scroll, right? You want to stop the scroll. Video captures people's attention. I know that I've got some detail-oriented people in here. Are these going to be perfect? No. Is something that rhymes with pillow got perfect data? No. Do people still go there? Yes. So even though I know that this might not always be completely accurate, that's okay, because it just happens, right? So I'm going to do Buena Vista, Winston-Salem, and click next. If you notice that the average home price is wrong, if you've been researching this neighborhood, and you're like, no, it's not, it's $720,000, change it, right? You can change the text. But we're looking for smarter, not harder here. But if you do notice that something is just completely wrong, then you are welcome to make those edits here. So it's going to show you average home price. Average home prices are rising. Average price per square foot is that amount. Average price per square foot is holding steady. Number of homes for sale, 17. Average days on the market is 30. It's a little bit more expensive neighborhood. So that's good to know. It's going to show you 3 neighborhood features that are recognized for that neighborhood. And agent information, there's your photo, your name, your job title. This is all being populated by your profile. If Scott Leroy set you up, you should already have it all set up. Your market center brokerage information is showing up here. I'm going to click next. It's going to generate this video, and then I'm going to let you guys watch it. So it takes up to 10 seconds. So we'll let it do its thing. Okay. And then we're going to take a look at it. All right, good deal. Pretty cool video. Eye-catching, right? Didn't take me very long to make it. I just click save and post. And again, I can give it some verbiage here. I can decide if I want it to go to Facebook and Twitter or just to Facebook. Just keep in mind that character limit when you're going on to Twitter. I can schedule the post, or I can publish it immediately. And click publish post in the upper right corner, and off it goes. And you can see that I have posted several of those on my web pages or on my business pages, like y'all. Videos. There you go. So those are some of the videos that I've posted. Right? So super cool. Quick post. Combination of post and videos. So that's how you can create those. All right, so remember earlier, we made that listing picture in Designs, and I said I would show you. You could download it and upload it into Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, wherever you want to put it. But you can also click Create Campaign, choose Social Post. This was not a quick post. This is me actually creating a post. Okay. So now I need to upload a photo. I could either upload it from my computer, or if I made it in Designs, I can browse my Designs library. There's that 2012 Rawson that the wonderful Teresa Blackburn has listed. So if I was going to make a post for that, I could pick that picture straight from my Designs library. Square, if you made the longer picture, you would want the wide, or you could free crop. And I can click crop image. And then I could type my happy text that said went under contract in 24 hours, whatever it was. And then I can post that to Facebook and Twitter. So any questions on that? So you make a design, it's in Designs, you can add it straight to your post from here. Good? Questions? Good. All right. So you also have quick posts showing up here on the right when you're under the social post tab. And I will take this moment to shout out outfront.kw.com, which is our digital magazine for us as agents. They just posted 31 scary good content ideas for your October social media calendar. They've been giving us these each and every month. I fully appreciate that. I've taught classes just about this. But it's essentially doing social media posts, and it's just giving you ideas, because one of the hardest parts about social media is coming up with content ideas. And one of the most important things for you to do with social media is to be consistent with your posts. And if you're running out of ideas, that could get difficult, especially if you're newer and you're not listing a lot of properties yet. It's easy to say just listed, just sold, under contract in 24 hours. Coming soon, whatever, right? When you have a bunch of listings, but if you're not there yet, you need to have some content. And even if you do have listings, you need to be posting valuable content, not just your sales, right? So this gives you some ideas of something that you could post every single day. Does that mean you have to post every single day? No. But if you wanted to, here are ideas of things that you can post. So if you have not visited outfront.kw.com, I recommend that you do so. It is our digital magazine. When you get there for the first time, it will ask you if you want to get emails from them, which is what I do, which is why I knew that this existed, because on September 28th, when they published, I got an email that said, hey, check out 31 scary good content ideas. And then I went here and looked at it. And then I saved it to show it to you guys. So, I mean, they have all kinds of stuff in here, right? Bitter nights calling for something warm, post a photo of your go-to cold weather drink. Mine is hot apple cider with Captain Morgan. It's delicious. If you haven't tried it, try it. So I love to have those out by the fire in the back of the house. Yummy, yummy on a cool fall night. So something like that, right? So post your life, right? Be a person, not just a selling machine, right? People want to relate to us. The inherent truth is that people do business with people they like. So if they see you as only saying, hey, do you want to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? Hey, look at what I sold. Hey, look at what went under contract. That gets boring real quick. So post stuff that makes you seem like a person, and post your stuff about business. Let's carve out some good memories. Do some pumpkin carving and share your design with your followers, right? Super fun. In my class that I taught a couple of weeks ago, or last week on the first day of fall, I gave you guys some ideas like that. I showed you some smart plans that I set up for you, and things of that nature. And pumpkin carving is one of those. So that is definitely fun. Or post your favorite candy and be entered for a chance to win a gift card to a candy store at the mall, whatever, right? Different ideas that you can come up with. So share your tips and strategies with others. Sharing is caring, and it is part of our culture at KW, which is why we have all these wonderful posts that we can find. So any questions about free social posting? I highly recommend that you schedule out your value post. Josh and I had this conversation yesterday. You're always going to have impromptu stuff. I'm doing an open house this weekend. I just listed this house. That stuff's going to come when it comes, but you need to have content that's scheduled out. So you have the opportunity here to schedule out a month in advance or even more, right? Now that they broke our designs down for holidays by month, you can go ahead and schedule out every holiday for the entire year of 2022 in social posts. So then you don't have to think about it. Then you just have to worry about posting the stuff that you're doing in business because you know your content's getting pushed out automatically, as Jason Abrams would say, right? So you can post out your whole month, do it a week in advance, whatever is best for you. But just remember, consistency is key when it comes to social media. So make sure that whatever you do, that you're doing it on a consistent basis, right? So any further questions about social post? Good. All right, we're going to work backwards. So we already looked at direct mail. So now we're going to go into emails. So these are bulk emails, okay? You can start these in designs. Let me open up.
Monica, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but is it possible we can get like a 3-minute bathroom break?
Absolutely, 100%. I'm happy to give you guys a break. Let's take 5. I'll start the timer and you guys can take a break.
All right. Thank you.
Yep. Yeah, of course. All right, friends, we're back. Please don't ever apologize for interrupting me. I don't mind one bit. Okay, so we're going to move back into designs. I'm going to show you guys where the emails exist. And so when you create a design, you can also do an email design. I'm going to click continue. So KWRI have given us quite a few templates. 72 to be exact. So you have all these templates available, from promoting your app to birthday wishes, home anniversaries, work with me seller, work with me buyer. And I do recommend that if you're going to create an email template, instead of trying to create it from scratch, use one that already has formatting. So we have some of these that are just very basic, like classic. Where is it? Approachable basic. Classic basic is my favorite one. There it is, classic basic. So if you want to just create an email template from scratch, so to say, I do recommend that you use one that's already started for you because it'll have a nice layout. We'll let this load up. Maybe. There we go. So that way it gives you a headline, it gives you paragraphs that you can add, and anything that has these little stars, it's already populated with your data. So if I go up to options preview, you can see that it's got my logo, it's got my headshot, my app code, all of that is already in there for me. So all you have to do is edit out this section. You can add images by dragging over from the right. So say you wanted to advertise this house, then I could click save and it'll pop in that house. So anything that you want to add, you can. This is just like the widgets of our website. You know, you have a listing block, you have a legal footer, a legal header, an event block. Now, I will warn you, I just found this out last week. This legal footer, for some reason, is not, or not the legal footer. Come on, Monica, the listing block. For some reason, this listing block is not populating our listings appropriately right now. So let me look for this one that we were using as an example. Community Church Road. So I was trying to help somebody with this the other day. Let's see. T7040. But I have notified them about it. So I'm hoping that it's going to get fixed soon. So let me search. It's only in the email template specifically that I'm not able to find these listings. See, so it says, sorry, something's happening. So that listing block's not working, but everything else is. So I just wanted to give you a heads up about that. I just don't recommend using that listing block at the time until they get that fixed. But otherwise, everything else is working as intended, and you can save and exit your email design. So you can create all kinds of fun emails in here, and you have the ones that are just already made, like this classic Happy Thanksgiving. I actually made that one, so that exists. And then you have lots to choose from. So you can see like refinancing, that's a big deal right now because interest rates are so low. So it's already got an image, it's already got the data options preview. This is what the email would look like. And this is one of those Keller Mortgage specific things that you can check out. You can view it on computer format, tablet format, cell phone format. So that's how you make your email designs. And then you can use those in your email campaigns. Okay. So this shows you what you've sent. Now, I know that we've been waiting for this and it's not gone live yet, and they may be making it live today. That might be why we're experiencing some glitches. But very soon, you're going to have a lot of data about your emails. So currently, if you send one of these out and you see all zeros, 0 cents, 0 open, 0 clicks, 0 bounces, it's because they're rolling that out right now. So once it does go live, you will actually be able to see delivered, open, clicked, unsubscribed, who did it. It will look like this. So as soon as that gets released, I will do a separate class on it so that you guys can see all of those happen. But let's go ahead and create campaign. We're going to do an email campaign. We're going to give it a title, advertise a listing or whatever that we're doing. It could just be an other. We're going to use command mail and hit create campaign. It's coming from my KW address. Your address should be the one that's showing up if it's a KW address or not. You have to create a recipient list. If you don't have one already, you can click create list. Here's where tags become so important, right? If you don't want to have to search through all of your contacts, you can search for them by tags. Say maybe I just wanted to only do everybody I know from basketball. Then I could select that tag and only see that list of people. Or if I wanted to do everybody at my KW1 office, I'll use that because it's got a lot more people in it. Or just I'll just use my family tag because it's right there. So you see now that's just going to narrow down to that list of people, and I can select all of them and say family email, past client email, whatever you want. And it will create this list for you. So this is only going to be going to that group of people. I need to give it a subject. Have you considered refinancing? People love emojis, so quite often I go to getomoji.com and I like to pull in some emojis into my email titles because it makes them look fun. And search for a house. And you don't have to do this step. It's just been proven that people love emojis. So I just copy that emoji and pop it into my subject line like so. And then I can select my design from my own templates or from the KWRI templates. So there's that refinancing one. I can pick that email. It's going to show me a preview of the email if I need to make any edits. I could add something to it from the side if I wanted, and I would click Save and Exit. Getting the preview of the email on the right-hand side, all of my content over here on the left-hand side. I can schedule this to go out, or I can go ahead and send it immediately. And you guys can do this too. So that's how you can do an email campaign. Any questions on email campaigns? Good? All right. So we have a very short amount of time to go over paid ads. And the good thing is that doing a paid ad doesn't take very long. But what does take a little bit of time is setting up your follow-up plan before you do the paid ad. Do not run a paid Facebook ad until you have a follow-up program in place. I have set up a smart plan for you guys, but you do need to do some edits because I don't have all of your app links and stuff like that. So let's talk about that. Facebook ads are going to be the cheapest leads that you can get when you're doing them through command. That being said, they're different than like if you are advertising a house on something that rhymes with pillow. People that are on that website are specifically looking at houses. People that are scrolling through their Facebook feed, which we are trying to stop the scroll, might not be looking to buy today. It might be 3 months, it might be 6 months, it might be a year. But that being said, there are no bad leads. So if you hear people complaining, well, this person never even answered me, that's okay. Put them on a follow-up plan that has lots and lots of touches, because the biggest thing is to stay top of mind, because eventually they will want to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, and you want to be the person that they reach out to. So that being said, if you go into Smart Plans and go to the library, I'm not saying you have to use mine, I'm just saying it's available. If you type 994, if you're in Winston-Salem, or 509 if you're in Greensboro, that's our market center numbers. Either way will bring you up to Smart Plans that I've published and shared with you, one of which is a Facebook follow-up ad, okay? You would click Add the Smart Plan to put it in your own Smart Plan library. And I'm just going to go to it in mine. You would need to hit this little edit pencil. It would show up now under My Smart Plans. If you added it to your library, it would show up at the top. I'm going to click the edit pencil and let's talk about it real quick. Okay, so this smart plan is assuming that you did a paid ad for a single property. Reports have shown that that's where you get the most leads for the least money, right? I'm not saying that there aren't other ads that are great to run. I'm just saying a single property ad gets the most leads for the least money. If you don't have your own listing, borrow someone else's. If you're on a team, ask your rainmaker if you can run an ad for one of their listings if you don't have a listing of your own yet. If you're not on a team, ask another agent. Use the hot sheets in the MLS like you have seen me doing. I'm going to all of the live listings in my office, and then I can go down to the bottom and say, hey, Jess, do you mind if I run an ad on Creekmore Drive, right? The only time that agents would usually say no is if they're on a team and they're already running an ad on that listing to get clients for their buyer agents. But usually, I know that Ashley Lay has said that you guys can run ads on any of her listings, and there are some other folks that have said that as well. So feel free to ask. And if you don't want to ask me, and I will ask. But this is for a single property. So the first step is going to be a call. And then the same time, it's going to send an email. And the reason I did this is because if you add a text first and you're using the automated texting platform Twilio, text will not go out after 7 p.m. They won't go out until the morning. So if somebody's sitting on the couch at 9 o'clock at night and they click on your ad, you want them to be reached out to immediately. Now, if it was 9 o'clock at night, I might not make the call, right? That's a little late. But I am confident that this email is going to go out, right? If it was 8 o'clock at night, I would probably call them and the email would go out. So the email says, looking for a home, right? Hi, contact first name, contact last name. It's going to populate to whoever the person is that clicked on it. I saw you were checking out the home we posted on Facebook. If you're like me, you may have forgotten what you clicked on. I tried to make everything that you have to replace be red when I could so that you can see it and put it in brackets. So insert property page from your website. That means to look up the property on your website. Go to my website real quick. We've been hanging out with Community Church Road. Excuse me, I feel very sneezy. My allergies are kicking, y'all. So 3670 Community Church Road is the one that we're going to run the ad on. You want to pull up that website. Did I get that number wrong? 3670 Community Church Road. There it is. So this property has a specific page on my website. And this is it. This is this property's website. So I can copy this. And so in the smart plan, it says, if you're like me and you forgot what you clicked on, here's a link to the home. So you need to insert that link, right? You can't just leave it saying insert the link here. And then where it says insert your website, you need to put your website. .kw.com in there. So you have a few edits that you need to make. Anything that has this type of bracket, that is one of the merge fields that's going to automatically populate for you. So you do not have to edit those. So just be on the lookout for the red, right? It's already going to put your first name and last name in, but you do need to enter your phone number and your email. Okay? It's going to set it away. So the next day, it's going to send them a text that says, hi, contact first name, contact last name. This is agent first name, agent last name with Keller Williams. Just following up on the home you showed interest in on Facebook. I would love for you to take advantage of the historically low interest rates. Do you have a minute to chat about your home buying search? Right? Delays 2 days. Then it sends this email. Delays 5 days. Then it sends this reminder to me to call them. Then it delays. Then it sends an email. Right? So I've laid it all out for you guys so that you don't have to do it. I used to have to actually teach you guys how to make these, but now I can just make them for you and publish them. And you just have to go in and make the couple of edits, right? So it's here for you. And if you weren't running this on a specific listing, you could change the verbiage. We looked yesterday at our websites, and how you could look up recently reduced homes in a specific area. So maybe you ran the ad on that. Then you could just say, instead of, I saw you were checking out the home I posted on Facebook, you could say, I saw you clicked on my ad for recently reduced homes in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Are you looking to buy or are you just browsing? So you can edit out the text for whatever you want. But the intention of this smart plan is essentially to bug them until they either answer you or tell you to leave them alone, or maybe they just never answer you, which is okay, because say that they did click on a home in Old Sherwood Forest. I have a task set further down in here that reminds you to add that neighborhood to their contact. And then one of the last steps of this is to put them on a monthly neighbor or a bi-weekly neighborhood nurture smart plan. It just does it for you automatically as long as you've added the neighborhood. And then it sends them an email that says, hey, when you registered on my site to look at homes, I set you up on some listing and neighborhood alerts. I wanted to check and see if you've been receiving that. And then it ends at the very end. It seems like now may not be the time for you to buy a home. No worries. I want to let you know that when you're ready, I'm here for you. Right? Here's some more red, that personalized Keller mortgage link. You can put it in there. You can just delete that section out, right? So just make sure that you go through and make the edits that you need to make, okay? And then you have a smart plan in place. The other cool thing, say that you did make up this smart plan and you were happy with it, but it was for a property specific ad, but you wanted to use the same steps for the recently reduced ad, then you can click the 3 dots and make a copy. And so this time, instead of it being for a buyer ad, maybe it's for recently reduced properties. Same steps will exist in the smart plan, and you can just go through and make the verbiage edits to make it apply to the recently reduced. So the biggest time crunch for the ad is actually setting up the follow-up, not running the ad itself. Okay. So let's talk about running the ad. This part's pretty easy. You're going to click create a campaign like we have been, but this time you're going to do a social ad paid. Okay. What are we doing? This time we're advertising a listing. Okay. We're going to click advertising a listing. Do we want this ad to run on Facebook, Facebook and Instagram, Facebook, Instagram and Twitter? I don't have a Twitter business account connected, so do I want to do it now? That's what it's going to say, right? But if I have Facebook connected, I have Instagram connected. Facebook is going to get you more leads. Instagram is going to get you more impressions. Instagram is great for brand building. Facebook is better for getting leads. So depending on what your goal is, then you can pick that, okay? But I'll show you what it looks like to pick both for this example. I'm going to create the campaign. If I'm doing a specific property, then I can look it up here. There it is. Select. Okay, now I have a picture showing up over here. It's already got some verbiage coming in from whatever I had written up in the MLS or the listing agent, if you are not the listing agent. Okay. Headline. I like these to be very simple. Less text, the better. It's called giving them a carrot instead of the whole meal. Give them a snack, not the whole meal. Because if you give them all the information, they're not going to want to click on it, right? So I'm just going to say welcome home. Description. Try. You could be coming home to this. The reason they are suggesting that is because they have proven it works. So if I just want to use the suggestion, I can just click use suggestion, or I could shuffle, schedule a private tour with me today, view photos and videos of the home. Whatever it is, just make sure you're matching the message with what you actually deliver. So I'm going to use that one. Okay. I'm gonna click save. We're looking for green check marks all the way down. And I apologize that we have run into noon, which is when this was set to end. If you need to leave, I completely understand. If you want to stay to see the end of this, feel free to. So now we're going to configure our Facebook and Instagram settings. Which account? Now where with the social media post, I could post to multiple business pages. With a paid ad, I can only go to one. So I can select my page. If I have multiple, I can only pick one. In my Instagram position, do I want it to show up in the feed or on my story? Okay. Make sure under destination, it even says it's recommended, Facebook lead generation form. That means that when they're in Facebook and they click on the ad, that it's already auto capturing a lot of their information. It's less work for them. And it stops more people from going, I didn't mean to do that. I don't want to give these people my data. And it gives you a better chance to capture their data, which is what we're trying to do. So your button label. So in other words, use the Facebook lead generation form. Button label, whatever it says, make sure you're matching the message. I'm going to let them learn more about the property. Remember, I said see photos and videos of the home. So if you click this, you get to learn more. Now I have to have a follow-up URL. So you could use one of those custom landing pages that we built the other day. You could make a specific one for this listing, or you can just go to your website and copy this for that property specific page. Let me get myself back to where I was. And you're going to pop this in here. So what this follow-up URL is, it means once they click on it, which is giving you their data, we promised them that they were going to get to see more photos and pictures of the photos and videos of the home, right? Or more information about the home. The button says learn more. So if they click on it, we want to deliver on that. And I would say ending up here where they can see all of the beautiful photos. They can see the price, they can see you, they can try to schedule a tour, they can go to Keller Mortgage or Keller Covered, number of bedrooms and bathrooms and year built and acreage and all the things that one would want to know about a property is delivering on what we promised. So you want to give it a follow-up URL that's going to deliver on your message. For the audience, custom settings or not custom settings. By default, it's going to do a 20-mile radius around Pofftown, and you're not giving any parameters other than that. If somebody's looking in 20-mile radius of Pofftown, they have a chance to see the ad. If I use custom settings, I could even go into adding interest, where I usually add something that rhymes with pillow, because more than likely, if people have shown interest in that, they're interested in homes. I'll also add realtor.com. You can add all kinds of things. Maybe it was a more expensive house. You could add luxury vehicles and luxury property, right? If it's $1 million home, you might want to be targeting people that already have those interests, right? So there are lots of schools of thought on targeting. Some people run one with no targeting for 20 bucks, and then they run one with targeting for 20 bucks, and then they see which one turns out better so that the next time that they're advertising a listing, they can model after what they had the most success with the first time, right? So there are different schools of thought on it. I'm not going to sway you one way or the other, right? So radius of 15 miles is as low as you can go, but you can go up much higher. You could also run this ad somewhere else. People from up north in California love the fact that they can move here and have essentially a mansion for what they could have a shoebox for where they currently live. Josh knows what I'm talking about, right? I mean, look at this house for $700,000. That sucker's huge. You got a pool, 2.5 acres of land. It looks like you have a covered outdoor area. You couldn't buy that for $700,000 in some other places. So people might really like to see this in other places. If that's the case, then you can run this ad in a different area, right? You could run this ad instead of in Poptown, you could run it in New York, New York, right? Boom, done. I could run it in a 15, 20, 30-mile radius of New York. Try to capture those snowbirds that don't want to be up there for the cold winter, right? So you can choose to run this wherever you want. And we'll look at some referral patterns tomorrow that show us some ideas on where we might want to do this, okay? So then we click save. Green check marks is what we're looking for again. Now, this is a recent update that's really cool. What do you want to happen with leads that come from this campaign? It used to be that when our leads came in, if we had set up the smart plan like we looked at a little while ago, we would have to always be at the ready. The lead came in, I need to go in and I need to set the smart plan to start, right? We don't have to do that anymore. We can actually auto tag them and say Facebook ad, and this was what? 3670 Community Church, 3670 Community Church Road. So that way they're automatically tagged and I know what they came from. The Facebook ad for 3670 Community Church Road. They're all tagged that way. I also can say, I want to assign them to this smart plan. So if that lead hits your inbox, that smart plan will take off. You don't have to worry about setting it to add it. You just want to make sure that you have it set up here, right? So super, super cool. Automatically tag, automatically add to the smart plan, click save. Duration and budget. They recommend $1 per day per channel. We currently said we were going to run this on both, right? We can distribute the money evenly across the two channels, or we can use automatic placement, right? And so this is going to dynamically push that money in different directions for you. And it's going to give us feedback on where we're getting the most leads from. But again, from what I've been told by people that run lots of these ads, more leads from Facebook, more impressions from Instagram, right? So I'm not saying either one is good or bad. I'm just saying that that's what has been said, but you could run it on both if you so chose. And then you click save, your ad's done, you publish it. It takes 24 hours to get approved by Facebook, and then boop, it's gone. It's out there. If you see your own ad, unless you're shopping for a house, you're not going to see your own ad, right? Facebook's smart. It's got algorithms. It's targeting people in that specific area that are showing interest and stuff like that. So unless you specifically are looking for a home, you're probably not going to see your own ad. I get asked that quite a bit. But yeah, that is how it's done. I do teach specific ads just on, or specific classes just on running Facebook ads, because it is a, you know, it's a big topic. But I wanted to make sure that I covered all of campaigns with you so that you could see how each piece works. So do we have any questions?
Yes.
Go ahead.
So yesterday we talked, you said that without 100 followers, you don't really have your name on a Facebook account.
YouTube
Is that-
account.
I'm sorry,
YouTube.
just YouTube. So that's not Facebook. So if I
And-
create a Facebook account,
Yeah, it's your channel URL. So if you go to YouTube, maybe. If you go to YouTube and you go to your channel, once you have 100 followers, then you can come into the customize channel button. And under basic info, this was my original channel with all that gobbledygook at the end. But once you get over 100, then you can give it like a vanity URL.
got it. Okay.
That's
Okay.
what that was for.
So, sorry, I'm old and I've just lost my train of thought.
From our Facebook pages.
Okay, so then when you do a Facebook and you do 15 miles outside of Pofftown, is it everyone that has a Facebook account within that 15-mile radius? Is that how it works?
They could be targeted by the algorithm.
So it's going to be 15 miles around Pofftown targeted to people that are looking to buy a $500,000 plus home. Got it. Okay.
More or less, yes. More or
Okay.
just
And then,
the more of those things that you add, right, on the Instagram settings and Facebook settings, the more of these that you add, you can get too narrow,
that's
right?
what I was wondering.
You don't want to get too narrow. And so that's why I said there's a lot of schools of thought. Some people say I get way more leads when I do none of the expert targeting. I just run it in 15 miles. That's all I do. And then some people are like, well, I really like to pick these two things. So, and every market is different. So that's why I said, I don't ever want you guys to spend like 50 or $100 on an ad when you've never run one. Spend like $20, right? Spend like $20 and see what you get back. And then if you find something that's really working, double it to 40. And then if that's doing really good, add it up to 60 and run it again, right?
So if you go less, if you go no particulars whatsoever, you're going to get more people. Are they going to charge you more?
You set your max budget.
Okay.
Duration and budget right here. Total campaign budget for this is $30. So I could lower this to 20. I could lower it to 10, right?
So once it reaches $20, it just shuts it off. And it's a one-time deal, or you can do this daily.
You would, like, they usually recommend running for 10 days. If I'm doing one, I've helped somebody do one for an open house. If you're going to do that, you have to keep in mind that it takes 24 hours for it to get approved. And then if you don't know that you're running the open house until Saturday the week before, you want to start it on Saturday, because then it's going to go through till next Sunday, and you would set it for 7 days. So you have a start date and an end date and your total budget.
Perfect. Cool. Okay.
Good.
Again, everything you do is overwhelming. So, but what it feels like to me is I know what can be done.
Right.
I don't know exactly how to do everything, because again, I'm scribbling notes, but the good news is I know what can be done, which means I can grovel to you for more help later.
That's what I'm here for. And just remember, just because I'm showing you how to do this stuff doesn't mean you have to do it yet, right? I just want you guys to know that it exists. And if it was me just getting started, if it's free, it's for me, baby. And you can do free social media posts all day, every day, as much as you want. So that's where I would start, right? And then if you're like, okay, I want to dip my toe into running an ad, I would run one for 20 or $25 max.
Okay.
See what you get back, see how the smart plan flows. That smart plan is intended to bug that person. I'm not going to lie. That's what it's for. Some people call their smart plans 10 days of pain, because that's the intention, right? But the thing is, if the person starts talking back with you, you cut the smart plan off and it stops, because then you're having a two-way conversation. The smart plan's in place to just keep reaching out to them if they're not answering you.
Nice.
But then once they answer, you can just shut it off and actually start talking, right? Good
Cool.
deal.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. So tomorrow we're going to go over all the other stuff. So we've gone over the biggies. We've gone over contacts and smart plans. We've gone over opportunities, campaigns, designs. Tomorrow we're going to be looking at tasks, the referral applet, and the reports applet, and the listings applet. So those are kind of, you don't use them as often as you use this other stuff, but they're still important. I still want you guys to know how they work. So that's what we'll be going over tomorrow for Friday.
Thank you so much.
You're so welcome, friends. Have a great rest
All
of
right,
your
darling,
day.
take care.
See ya.